Here it is. This is Stefanoski, publisher of Yankee News, and it's another fabulous night of talking about how the world is falling apart. Yes. So we have our lineup here, and I think this is session 44? 45? 46. Wow. Boy, am I losing count. Okay, so I just want to run through a few quick items before I get into the main stuff. First, I want to do a plug for Dominic Rapini, Republican who's running for Secretary of State. The plan is he's going to be here next week. We're going to interview him, and he's going to be looking ever so pleadingly to everybody in the room to help with his campaign. There's a goal that he needs to achieve, and he's close. So, you'll put the stuff up on the site, but you definitely go to his website, whatever you can do to donate, and look forward to the interview we have with him, because believe me, there's another part to this story. As you may recall, I held up a little sheet last week about Denise Merrill, public enemy number one to election integrity. It's basically her. All right, and then in the meantime, I want to promote at my house in Killingworth a potluck dinner. That'll be March 24th. We'll start around 6:37, and it's for fellow conservatives to get together and share stories and plot strategy and talk about various things. Now, also I want to promote this book that Will just showed me. It's called The United States of Fear by Mark McDonald, who's a psychiatrist. And there's just one passage I wanted to grab out of here. I took a quick look at it, and let's see if I can find it. Let's see. Wish I could find it. But the point is that he deals with the issue of mass psychosis, mass formation psychosis, and the notion is that a population reaches a tipping point in terms of a shared view, and it can be a negative one. And there are historical examples. Many people have looked at Nazi Germany as an example of this formation of psychosis in a whole population. So this is the passage quickly. But fear can also be harmful when it arrives at the wrong time, for the wrong reason, or beyond the length of time that it's needed. So I think that's a pretty good description of what we've been through for the last couple of years. In any event, looks good, look into it, and I'd probably recommend you're buying it. Okay. Now, just quickly some things about Ukraine. There's been this back and forth about the biolabs, and I just want to point out that I've been a consultant in biotechnology for some 40 years, and I've seen this kind of stuff a fair bit. What I'll call the most correct narrative still has to be worked out. We have documents from the Department of Defense going back to 2005, a federal program for what they call defense threat reduction. In effect, the federal government decided many years ago that the best way to keep Russian/Soviet biological researchers from going to work for the bad guys was to buy them out. And the way you buy out a researcher is you give them a lab. And that's exactly what we would have done. And 2005 kind of marked a second phase in the development of this program, where we're plunking all this money down to basically lure these researchers away from the bioweapons research they had been doing into things that are a little bit more benign, like agriculture and veterinary medicine. So that's my take on it. And I'm sure more things are going to come out. There's a claim that there's been some coronavirus research going on. It's a broad category of viruses. There are lots of different things to look at, so I would not be surprised, all right? In any event, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, Jackie Homan, Greenwich Patriots, they have been on it, all right? They've been submitting these Freedom of Information Act requests to the state of Connecticut to have them explain themselves with respect to the state's policies concerning COVID. So this is, even though the mandates have been dropped, we're just getting warmed up here. And so we have a link here to the data portal for the state of Connecticut. the point I want to make here about this more than any other, okay, if I could just find it quickly. You see, in the Freedom of Information request that they made, Jackie had a long list of specific items. Yeah, here we go. I'm just going to rattle off a few of these. Okay, so the point is, Lamont said, these are the rules, these are the mandates. I'm directing the State Department of Health to carry these things out. Now, the issue is, where is your scientific basis for doing this? It is follow the science after all, isn't it? All right, scientific proof that Omicron is more contagious than Delta, a description of testing methods used to positively identify the first positive Omicron case in Connecticut, and the test used to confirm Omicron in the family members of that person. Scientific proof that the testing methods used gives factual and accurate evidence of the existence and the viral load of the Omicron. Okay? It goes on. All right? As far as I'm concerned, these are all perfectly reasonable questions. They need to be asked. And any guess as to what the state's answer was?
Silence.
Beats the F out of me. Okay? We don't know. We don't. All right. The official bureaucratese is, we have no information that is responsive to your request. Really? Okay? All right. So here's the problem. On what basis, Governor Lamont, or Tyrant Lamont, did you make these decisions that you imposed on the public and used for your request for emergency? Where is it? Where's the basis for all of this? Okay? Silence. Perfect silence. And it's unacceptable. So I had a conversation with Eric today. This work is not over, and there's a lot more to talk about here. This is just about Connecticut. And believe me, there's a bigger one going on, all right? So let me just say there's this. There's Bonds for the Win, okay? There's Operation Boardwalk. So these guys who think they can hide this information, play stupid, be silent, no, you're not going to get away with it. You're not going to get away with it. All right. So there's history to this. We're not going to go into it right now. Okay. Number two. Where did number two go? All right. Pfizer is in trouble. Okay. As I put in the thing here, what do they say? Pfizer knows they're in trouble. Okay. All right. For the longest time, there's been a fight. It started because people were amazed. Wait a second. You're telling me that Pfizer will be able to withhold, the FDA withhold for 75 years all the evidence on the clinical data for how the decisions were arrived at for the 70? Seriously. Okay, well, judges decided this was just as ridiculous. So, about 9 days ago, Pfizer finally had to cough it up, okay? Kind of like watching the cat with a hairball, okay? 55,000 pages of documents. That's a hell of a big hairball. Now, Clout, dailyclout.io. Remember this, and we got it's there, it'll be up. dailyclout.io. Thank God for Dr. Naomi Wolf. Okay. For the link, what you have is a project. Okay, 55,000 pages of documents. It's a lot of documents to go through. I did an estimate. It's the equivalent of having, you know, like when you go to Staples and you buy one of those boxes with the reams of copy paper in them. It's like 110 of those boxes. Okay, that's what 55,000. Are we okay, Eric? Yes. All right. He's got a frustrated look.
Please keep going.
Yes, you're sure? We're good.
We're good. Keep going.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the a project has been created by dailyclout.io. You can sign up. They now have at least 1,500 people, including lawyers, physicians, and others, who are pouring through these documents and discovering all kinds of things. So one quickly is that undisclosed to the public was the fact that Pfizer and Moderna had come up with different dosages for these vaccines, okay? You had to be on the, quote, inside to know which lot had which dosage, all right? This is an outrage, all right? So more is being learned. the fact that Pfizer can get into more trouble is something we have to keep in mind. And another thing here, just read the title. Deaths represent 1.3% of side effects reported for COVID vaccines. And this is from a peer-reviewed CDC study. Okay? So some would say that 13 out of every 1,000 reports. Okay? Yeah, it's a mess. The link is there. Go look at it. Okay?
13 out of 1,000.
Sorry?
13
Out of 1,000. That's correct. Okay, so number three. Yeah, we got that. Okay, now. Oh boy, our friends in China are at it again. Ain't this wonderful? Okay? As the title says, it's another Chinese fire drill when it comes to COVID. All right? They've had these outbreaks, and for reasons that escape all understanding, okay, they're doing the same stuff, okay? It didn't work last time, and guess what? It's not going to work this time. But they're doing the lockdowns and the pictures of them spraying everywhere. It's ridiculous. But this is what's happening in China right now. So just wanted to share that with you. Okay, next is FAUCI killed the golden goose. Now, what could possibly be the golden goose? The golden goose is known as the Foundation of the National Institutes of Health. The Foundation. It's a nonprofit group. And it's been, in effect, the back door. It's the favorite charity through which Big Pharma has given money to people in NIH. That it's been a vehicle for corruption is a given. That's the best way I can say it. And all the trouble that Fauci has gotten into is going to break the news on what a corrupt operation this foundation is. So thank you, Dr. Fauci, for helping the public see just how corrupt the NIH is. All right? And it's just, I mean, we don't have time, but there's just so much stuff. All right. On to Connecticut. Okay, Bob Stefanowski is the presumptive Republican nominee in running against Lamont in his quest for re-election. Now, I thought it was kind of funny. This article is about what they call Moms for Bob. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little prosaic. Forgive me. So the title is Bob Stefanowski Baked for Perfection. All right? Because he's so admired by Moms for Bob. A little reference to mothers being in the kitchen. Well, husbands too, but we won't get into that. But the point is that this article tries to treat mothers as a, quote, special interest group that's going to support Bob Stefanowski in his run. Now, out of all the things in the article that they point to, I think the one that speaks the loudest, if I just may quote this, is, "We have heard Lamont loud and clear with his taking away parental choice and putting into the hands of the government instead of the parents with mask choice." I know, how many times have we been over this, right? How many times have parents gone before the boards of education and others? Nothing. Nothing. Okay? So mothers feel, well, since Lamont wouldn't listen, maybe Bob Stefanowski will. We'll see. All right? So moving on. Now we've got, I believe, let's see here. Ah, yes, Connecticut Commie of the Week. Okay. So this week's Connecticut Communist is Robyn Porter, state representative for District 94, I believe. She's another example of someone who has run unopposed. You know, the Republicans, I don't know how to address this, okay? But you have these districts where not only do no Republicans show up, but it's a battle, okay, between other leftist groups and the Democrat Party in these districts. It's insane. In any event, so if it's about a direct connection between Robyn Porter and the Communist Party, you're going to have to work at it a little bit. But the tell is where Robyn was a little while ago. She's in Georgia. Now, wait a second. She's a state representative of Connecticut. What's she doing in Georgia? She's knocking on doors for a certain Raphael Warnock, who is running for the Senate. Okay, Raphael Warnock is a little bit more clear in his connections to communists. Besides being a big fan of Fidel Castro, the late Fidel Castro in Cuba, he's had nice things to say about communists and Marxists, and I'm almost certain he's one himself. So what do you think? If you're knocking on the doors for a communist, might there be some connection in there somewhere? Just saying. All right, so the bad news just keeps coming. Communist influences, it sounds kind of John Birchish and old-fashioned, but, we're going to have to deal with this. Anyway, moving on to the next thing. All right, just to preface this, okay, the Democrats were patting themselves on the back and saying what wonderful people they were when they passed money several years ago for a job training program that would benefit, wait for it, 8 people. A job training program for 8 people. And they thought, wow, we're really you, we're great. Okay, so the same kind of niggling little thing comes from this. So now Lamont says he wants to drop the 25-cent state tax on gasoline and, look, a 1-week clothing sales tax holiday. Wow. I think that's going to turn things around. Yes, I do. Okay? So this kind of petty, narrow-minded, stupid, I can't take it. Anyway, quickly, number 9. So I think it's worth noting that the Connecticut Capitol Report had been covering this scandal with a Diamantis, okay, his daughter being hired by another agency, a big job, might even been no-show for all I know. And so all of a sudden, the Connecticut Capitol Report is not covering it. All reference to this area is gone. I found this thing from a month ago when the Republicans were demanding that there be a hearing on all the corruption surrounding this Diamantis guy. So that's still going on. And now the last thing here, let's all be irritated. Okay, Attorney General Tong wants to make secret the addresses, contact information of 200 more lawyers. So these would be the assistant attorneys who are working in the state office with him. The problem is that there is a list of people who are considered at risk from public harassment. So all the judges in the courts in the state of Connecticut, it's about 150 of them, if you want to give them a call, you can't, all right, because their contact information is regarded as secret. Certain members of law enforcement, if you want to give them a call, you can't, all right, and there are others. So there's this list, if you will, of protected state employees because they're afraid of harassment. Well, let's talk about harassment for a second since I'm running out of time. If someone in a position of authority is not doing their job and you feel like your rights are being denied and you're being treated wrongly and you seem to have no recourse, what do you think? You're going to want to look for the level at where you're going to get some kind of response. So if that ends up with having to go knock on the door of these people and explain to them how they're not doing their job, that's what needs to be done. However, the state doesn't see it that way, so they like to keep these things secret. And the problem, as Rob Sampson's state senator pointed out, this list of state employees that are considered worthy of being kept secret, it's just getting bigger, okay? So it's going to get so big, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a scene from an existentialist movie called The Castle. I think it was by Kafka. If you saw the movie, what you have is it's black and white movie, and there's all this smoke and light in the background. Did you see it? No. And so you see these huge buildings, and then this little tiny person walking in and among all these buildings. And by the way, the little tiny person has been accused of a crime, but he can't find who made the accusation. He can't find the person he needs to confront who has made these allegations. He can't find them because they're all buried and hidden in all this institution, all these buildings, okay? That's your government. That's what the Connecticut government is becoming, and we got to end it, okay? And on that, I'm done. Thank you very much. okay?